intelligent system's exploration function remained active, any unusual energy reactions would surely be detected. Soon, Zhang Yi had descended to a depth of 20,000 meters. The exploration system registered nothing. Zhang Yi frowned. At this depth, he had previously encountered colonies of earth centipedes beneath the Qinling Mountains. He continued downward. 30,000 meters, 40,000 meters. This was the depth where the Nash Kingdom had once stood. 50,000 meters. Without space ability mutants, no ordinary being could reach such depths through their own means. This was precisely why mechanical civilization had to deploy the Mechanical Legion to excavate. Thick layers of rock and soil could block nearly all signals, making it difficult to probe the secrets they sought. Beyond 50,000 meters, Zhang Yi's vision suddenly opened up. He found himself in a vast cavern. It was a colossal underground chamber. A cave? No, calling it a cave felt too small. This was clearly a vast subterranean world. Zhang Yi confirmed his suspicions. Here, indeed, something extraordinary existed. The familiar underground world, its sky swirling with blue mist. Though devoid of sun, it possessed a unique illumination system. Hovering high above, he surveyed the world below. An underground civilization truly existed here. Yet it was desolate and lifeless. Before him lay vast ruins. The city's scale exceeded Zhang Yi's imagination. The ruins alone spanned an area hundreds of times larger than Tianhai City. Countless structures had long since weathered away, leaving only faint outlines of the city's former existence. Who knew how many millennia had passed? Zhang Yi calmly scanned everything, yet detected no signs of life. He descended cautiously toward the city's surface, soon reaching its upper reaches. This was a spiraling city, its structures both peculiar and immense. Zhang Yi estimated the size of the buildings and compared them to human proportions. His conclusion: the creatures that once inhabited this place were roughly twice the size of humans. Dust blanketed the landscape. The underground world was deathly silent. With no wind to stir it, layers of dust had accumulated to an unimaginable depth. Zhang Yi analyzed the structural composition of the buildings. His findings were startling. They weren't made of earth or stone, but of a peculiar alloy. According to the system's analysis, this structure had existed for over 20,000 years. Fatty Su, Yang Xinxin, and the others emerged from the shadow space, joining Zhang Yi in exploring this new world. Another underground civilization. But it looks completely extinct. Fatty Su scanned the surroundings, but all he could see were ruins. Finally, he sighed helplessly, nothing left behind. 20,000 years was ample time for a civilization's remnants to vanish from history, leaving almost nothing behind. Zhang Yi refused to give up. Whatever the mechanical civilization had been relentlessly seeking must be incredibly valuable. This place surely held some trace of it. Let's keep searching. I believe something the Mechanical Legion worked so hard to find wouldn't just disappear that easily. They traversed the vast city relentlessly, yet beyond the architectural remains, nothing of value remained. Yang Xinxin remarked, this was a residential area, daily necessities wouldn't have been preserved. But I believe that as a civilization nears its end, it would find ways to preserve traces of its existence through special means. Zhang Yi pondered for a moment before saying, this place is enormous, a vast nation. If we search using conventional methods, we simply don't have enough manpower. Yang Xinxin replied, I have a method we can try. What method? Yang Xinxin said, destroy everything here. If this prehistoric civilization had something it wanted preserved until now, it would have used the safest methods to protect it. It wouldn't be so easily destroyed. So, let's just bulldoze everything. See what survives. Zhang Yi pondered this, finding Yang Xinxin's reasoning compelling. A civilization coveted even by mechanical civilizations must far surpass humanity. Therefore, their preserved artifacts would likely remain untouched by Zhang Yi's group. We don't have a better option anyway. Let's do it. Zhang Yi chose the simplest approach. He led everyone high into the sky, then amplified his power to its absolute limit. Aiming directly at the city's center, he unleashed a star-piercing cannon blast. Jet black energy erupted from Zhang Yi's palm, not seeking to pierce through. A dark line shot thousands of meters from the sky straight to the ground, followed by a colossal energy wave that swept out in all directions. Even the architectural ruins that had endured tens of thousands of years without complete destruction were scattered like dust, blown outward by the shockwave. The entire ground caved in hundreds of meters deep, nothing could remain hidden. Under such devastating force, a peculiar structure truly emerged from beneath the earth. When Zhang Yi and his companions arrived to inspect it, they discovered a massive underground laboratory. Constructed entirely from pitch-black special crystals, its appearance up close defied belief as a relic of the past. Its surface bore almost no traces of history, smooth and mirror-like. Its size was nearly as large as Zhang Yi's shelter, resembling a house. Zhang Yi stared at it, hesitating to make a move, unsure what lay inside. He decided to pack it up first and take it back for careful study. Zhang Yi opened the dimensional gate. A powerful gravitational pull lifted the massive black structure into the air, slowly drawing it into the dimensional space. Surveying this vast world before him, Zhang Yi recognized many unexplored regions. Yet time was not on his side. He must return swiftly to avoid arousing suspicion. Let's go. We'll figure out what's inside first. As for this place, we can revisit it later. A colossal lost civilization surely concealed treasures, whether technological relics or historical artifacts. Zhang Yi led everyone back to the surface swiftly. Meanwhile, Jussenberg was still waiting outside. Brahma's team of mutants had also arrived, searching the area intently. Spotting Zhang Yi, Emperor Indra immediately approached, demanding, "Chaos, where were you just now? Did you find anything?" His eyes fixed on Zhang Yi, brimming with suspicion. No one was foolish. They clearly sensed something extraordinary in the vicinity, otherwise, how could it have drawn the attention of a demon god? Zhang Yi replied, "I searched the surrounding area thoroughly. I found nothing." Zhang Yi had disappeared from his spot, but no one knew where he'd gone. Even less could they imagine he'd plunged tens of thousands of meters beneath the surface. Emperor Indra's gaze toward Zhang Yi was full of suspicion, while Jussenberg seemed hesitant to speak. But for now, they had no evidence to prove anything. Zhang Yi said, "We should return. To avoid retaliation from the mechanical civilization later. I've heard there are 10 humanoid demon gods in total. You'd better leave quickly to avoid trouble." With that, Zhang Yi approached Jussenberg, grabbed him, and opened a dimensional gate to depart the scene. Emperor Indra watched Zhang Yi vanish into the distance, his doubts deepening. Yet after much contemplation, he too feared impending danger here and could only choose to lead everyone back to Samaran as swiftly as possible. Shortly thereafter, Zhang Yi returned to Samaran City and immediately sought out Prodaja, returning Jussenberg to him. Prodaja was overjoyed to see Jussenberg, rushing forward to embrace him. "My dear comrade, you're alive. This is truly wonderful. I nearly thought you were dead." A black chariot-level mutant held immense significance for Fremons. Had he perished, they would have no idea how much time and resources it would take to cultivate a replacement. "All this is thanks to Lord Chaos, who saved my life from the demon god's grasp." Only then did Prodaja turn his gaze to Zhang Yi. Taking a deep breath, he addressed Zhang Yi, "My deepest gratitude to you, Lord Chaos." He stepped forward and shook Zhang Yi's hand firmly. Zhang Yi smiled faintly. "We are allies. This was my duty. But please do not forget our prior agreement." Zhang Yi looked at Prodaja meaningfully. Prodaja's expression grew slightly awkward, but he nodded nonetheless. "Of course. We Fremons hold our word above all else." Zhang Yi nodded. "Indeed. I know full well that you strictly honor every promise made and treaty signed." Prodaja's expression darkened slightly. After exchanging a few polite words, he promptly led Jussenberg away to receive treatment. Fatty Su approached and whispered in Zhang Yi's ear, "Boss, that guy clearly has a chip on his shoulder. You're not giving him any face, aren't you worried he'll sabotage you behind your back?" Zhang Yi replied coolly, "You think being polite to him will earn you his favor? That guy's as sly as a fox, only thinking about how to profit off others. No need to be courteous. He'll have plenty of chances to need us later." The moment the 10 demon gods appeared, Zhang Yi knew the conflict between human civilization and the mechanical civilization had escalated. Especially after he took down one of the demon gods, the mechanical civilization would surely retaliate. Thus, the days when Fremons could reap the benefits of others' conflicts were over. By then, administrative representatives like Prodaja would have no choice but to seek aid from Zhang Yi and the few other powerful mutants capable of countering the demon god. Just you wait and see. Zhang Yi led everyone back to their residence, assigning the Volt Shadow Troop to secure the perimeter and prevent any unauthorized access. Then, he directly retrieved the spoils of this battle, enlisting Lu Karen, Yang Xinxin, and others to assist him in analyzing them. On the Fremon's side, Prodaja personally escorted Jussenberg to the medical center for treatment. Fortunately, the attending physician assured him that Jussenberg's condition was not serious. As an enhancement ability user, his physical resilience was sufficient, and he would recover with adequate rest. Prodaja breathed a sigh of relief. But immediately, countless other questions flooded his mind. He approached Jussenberg's bedside. "Jussenberg, what exactly happened in Alto City?" Their satellite system had malfunctioned immediately after the appearance of the demon god, jammed by a powerful signal. Thus, Prodaja and the others remained completely unaware of the events unfolding there. Jussenberg held nothing back, recounting the entire situation to Prodaja. After listening, Prodaja's eyes widened, and he remained silent for a long time. Much later, he walked to the window and murmured, 5 supersized mechanical life forms, plus a demon god-level humanoid creature, all of them were actually taken down by the Chaos Team. Their strength is truly formidable." Prodaja knew Zhang Yi was formidable. But that was merely his own perception of Zhang Yi. Today, he realized he had severely underestimated Zhang Yi's true power. Such astonishing achievements were beyond even Morana of the Pantheon's capabilities, even if she had personally intervened. Morana possessed the strength to confront a demon god, a fact proven during the fall of Karen City. Yet even she could never match Zhang Yi's feat of defeating a demon god unscathed. But soon, Prodaja recalled something crucial. Zhang Yi held a captured demon god in his grasp. An artificial being of demon god caliber could be definitively classified as a mechanical life form. As a combat-oriented, high-tier model, its technological sophistication far surpassed that of super-large mechanical life forms. Therefore, Prodaja was intrigued. This marked humanity's first capture of such a high-grade mechanical life form. Mastering that technology would hold immeasurable value for any nation. Prodaja's face darkened as he swiftly made his decision. He would demand this technology. After all, according to their agreement, Zhang Yi was obligated to share 10% of his resources with them. Prodaja wanted nothing else, only the remains of the demon god, Gui, for study. With his mind made up, he headed straight for Zhang Yi's residence. At that moment, Zhang Yi had just handed over the captured spoils to Lu Karen and Yang Xinxin, instructing the shelter's most brilliant mind and most skilled mechanic to study them together. Among the items were the dismantled remains of the demon god Gui, and those crimson energy crystals. As for the massive, black cube resembling a structure obtained beneath Alto City, before Zhang Yi could hand it over, Bai Li Changqing's announcement echoed from outside. "Supreme Excellency. Prodaja of the Pantheon seeks an audience." A faint smile touched Zhang Yi's lips. That fellow. He knew perfectly well what Prodaja's intentions were. But he had already prepared his countermeasures. Zhang Yi promptly summoned Prodaja and his entourage to his chambers. Prodaja entered the reception hall with his men. The moment he saw Zhang Yi, his face broke into a broad smile. Clasping Zhang Yi's hand, he launched into a torrent of flattery. He expressed gratitude for Zhang Yi saving Jussenberg, declaring himself a friend of Fremon's forever. He went on to say that a selfless and noble mutant like Zhang Yi was truly 1 in a million across the entire world. After this barrage of flattery, he was practically praising Zhang Yi to the heavens. This made Zhang Yi wonder whether he was truly a modern man or perhaps a relic from Fremon's era last century. Otherwise, how could he be so skilled at flattery? But Zhang Yi remained wary of him, so he merely smiled at Prodaja's praise. After wasting half a day on empty talk, Prodaja finally stated the purpose of his visit. Well then, Lord Chaos. I wonder if you recall our prior agreement. For the spoils you acquire on the battlefield, we Fremons are entitled to 10%. Zhang Yi smiled and replied frankly, I remember. I, Chaos, am a man who keeps his word. Prodaja chuckled. Excellent. I hear you've captured Gui, one of the 10 demon gods. Therefore, we should receive 10% of its share of the spoils. Zhang Yi lowered his eyelids, rubbing his nose. Huh. Prodaja insisted, this is our agreement. Prodaja's piercing eyes locked onto Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi frowned. But I saved Jussenberg. Don't you think he's worth more than 10% of the spoils? A black chariot-level mutant with limitless potential was worth far more than that. Prodaja raised his voice, of course it counts. Saving Jussenberg was part of our original agreement. Otherwise, why would we have lowered our cut to 10%? Zhang Yi shrugged with a smile. Fine. If you insist on putting it that way, I can't argue. I'll give you 10% of this haul. Only then did Prodaja relax, immediately adding urgently, then please hand it over now. I'll take it directly. He was eager to get the demon god's corpse back for research. Whether it was the materials composing its body, that unique power supply system, or the even more formidable defensive force field mechanism, all were valuable treasures beyond measure. Don't rush. There's too much stuff. I doubt your small group can handle it all. Zhang Yi remarked casually. Prodaja frowned. It's only 1/10 of a demon god's remains. How much could that be? Zhang Yi looked at him with amusement. Who said I was giving you the demon god's remains? Prodaja's expression abruptly changed. Zhang Yi continued, 1/10 of the spoils, that's what I'm allocating to you from the spoils. What? You only get a 10th share, yet you still want to specify the spoils? Besides, do you even know how incredibly sturdy that demon god's body is? It's on an entirely different level compared to those previous models. I can't precisely cut it for you like that. This part was undeniably true. As a combat-oriented machine, the demon god's materials were exceptionally robust, even surpassing the E-metal that Zhang Yi currently used. Just to breach its defensive armor, Zhang Yi had to unleash the power of Divine Realm Netherworld cleansing, bombarding it dozens of times before it deformed. As for the scientific institutions of the Fremon's people, they'd find it even harder to cut through it. But then again, with Liu Karen's assistance, Zhang Yi essentially possessed a cheat code in the realm of materials science. Studying it wouldn't be difficult. Yet he wasn't foolish. Why would he tell Prodaja? Prodaja stared intently at Zhang Yi and said in a deep voice, if you can't manage it, bring it over. We have ways to help you dissect it. Zhang Yi replied, fine, but it must be dissected in front of me. You can have your technical department personnel come over. Prodaja now felt troubled inside. What he truly desired was the demon god's energy core. But with their current technology, studying a supersized mechanical life form was already pushing their limits, let alone the demon god's core. As for splitting off 10%? That sounded like pure nonsense. Prodaja took a deep breath and proposed another suggestion. How about this? We won't demand ownership of the demon god's remains. Just let us study it for a period of time. Zhang Yi smiled, then shook his head decisively. If you can't even manage to split it apart, what good would research do? It'd just be a waste of time. The flush on Prodaja's face deepened. He was on the verge of losing his temper. In Fremons, who dared speak to him like this? Yet before Zhang Yi, his authority held no sway whatsoever. Fuming, he declared, fine. I'll send personnel immediately to cut out 10% of the demon god's body. Zhang Yi shrugged indifferently. Go ahead. Prodaja stormed off, ordering the science center to send technicians. Zhang Yi remained utterly unconcerned. Apart from those like Li Changgong, who possessed high-level cleaving skills, ordinary mutants, and note that Zhang Yi counted even white chariot-level mutants as ordinary, couldn't possibly handle this material. Prodaja summoned Fremon's most advanced engineers and brought the most cutting-edge equipment, aiming to dismantle the demon god. Zhang Yi paid little attention to this. Even he, a bishop-level mutant, had expended immense energy attempting to destroy the demon god's body. This meant that this artificial body, forged from top-tier materials, could even withstand the onslaught of the Grim Reaper of Love. The combat machines of a super-advanced civilization was beyond the comprehension of modern humans. Sure enough, the engineers immediately began cutting into the demon god's body using various cutting tools. Yet even the planet's most powerful cutting equipment failed to inflict the slightest damage, struggling even to scrape off a single speck of debris. Boom! The violent explosion, accompanied by sky-piercing flames, instantly reduced their engineering vehicle to shreds. The dozen or so technicians present didn't even have time to utter a sound before being blown to pieces, scattered in fragments here and there, with dozens more nearby. The powerful shockwave radiated outward, engulfing the surrounding Fremons before they could react. Zhang Yi instantly activated everything under heaven, absorbing the entire shockwave. The demon god's body possessed formidable defensive mechanisms that automatically activated when subjected to intense external force. Though its energy core had been extracted, its internal defense modules, akin to the nerves of a human body, remained intact. Fortunately, it lacked sentience. Otherwise, unleashing even a tenth of its power would have left a white chariot-level mutant like Prodaja gravely injured, if not dead. The scene quickly descended into utter chaos. Only the battered remains of the demon god Gui's corpse lingered where it had stood, now a colossal crater. Prodaja's face darkened. Zhang Yi shrugged. Once you figure out a way, you're welcome to come collect it any time. Prodaja had no choice but to storm off, determined to head to the Pantheon to summon a few powerful mutants for assistance. Zhang Yi stowed the demon god's remains. After pondering, he sought out Liu Karen and requested some components from the supersized mechanical lifeforms. Just modify it a bit to resemble the limbs of this demon god's remains. When they come demanding it back, we'll hand it over. This demon god's body was top-tier machinery. If its core secrets could be cracked in the future, it might yield a robot rivaling a bishop-level unit. At the very least, its sheer structural strength alone could hold its own against an epsilon. Of course, that assumes we can replicate an energy core of equal caliber. That's the true source of its power. Otherwise, we'd just end up with an incredibly resilient shell. That's precisely why Zhang Yi couldn't bear to dismantle it and hand it over to Fremon's people. Liu Karen scratched her head. Won't they notice this? Zhang Yi scoffed. We hold the original. If we say it's genuine, they can't prove it's fake. Anyway, with their technology, leaving it for them to study won't yield results anytime soon. Better to keep it ourselves. Liu Karen's divine machinist was a god-tier skill, having her research it offered the highest return on investment. Divine machinist required no external aids to alter a substance's structure. With a slight reshaping, a segment resembling a fragment of a demon god's arm was complete. Zhang Yi stowed it away. Though not as resilient as the demon god's remains, Fremons wouldn't detect it anytime soon. Sure enough, Prodaja returned shortly after, this time bringing Alexei to see Zhang Yi. Chaos, bring out the demon god's remains. I've found someone who can dissect it. Prodaja stared at Zhang Yi as he spoke. Alexei's gaze toward Zhang Yi held a peculiar intensity as he asked, Lord Chaos, you've actually captured a demon god? Zhang Yi shrugged. Pure luck. Alexei's jaw dropped. Oh my god. That's just like you, achieving something so unbelievable yet again. It was a tough fight. That thing was no pushover. Zhang Yi offered no further explanation. Prodaja eagerly reached out. Bring it out now. Zhang Yi rolled his eyes. Did you really think I wouldn't keep my word? With that, he pulled out the material fragment and tossed it toward Prodaja. The heavy material landed in Prodaja's arms, causing his entire body to sink slightly. Staring at the material in his hands, he looked skeptical. Is this real? They just struggled so hard to get it, yet now the material was suddenly ready? He suspected Zhang Yi had procured a fake. Ha! Seeing how useless your people were, I had my engineers cut it for me. If you don't want it, you can give it back. Prodaja scrutinized it closely, unable to detect any flaws. So he raised his right hand. A sharp frost enveloped it, transforming into a massive ice sword that sliced toward the material. Prodaja was a white bishop-level mutant, holding a high position within the pantheon, not for his combat prowess, but for his administrative skills. In Fremons, he oversaw multiple domains as an official. This material was the hardest part of the colossal mechanical life form, its substance only marginally inferior to the remnants of a demon god. Naturally, his cut left barely a trace, just a shallow scratch. Prodaja nodded with satisfaction. Even my full-strength sword cut only leaves a shallow mark. This confirms its material from the demon god's body without a doubt. Zhang Yi chuckled inwardly, his expression remaining impassive. I told you, I'm a man of my word. I never joke about such matters. Prodaja hastily stowed the material away, yet kept his gaze fixed on Zhang Yi as he said, but there's one more thing, sir, don't forget. We also want a share of the demon god's energy core. Zhang Yi sneered coldly, what? You want 1/10 of that thing cut off for yourselves too? Prodaja shook his head. I know that thing is incredibly difficult to research. But once you achieve results, you must share them with us as agreed. Share 1/10 of the findings? I know. Zhang Yi replied lazily. But technical knowledge couldn't be quantified, it would all depend on Zhang Yi's mood later. Yet Prodaja had no better solution, and could only leave grudgingly with that portion of the materials. Alexei hadn't departed. He too waited until Prodaja was gone before approaching Zhang Yi with curious inquiry, tell me, which demon god was the one you encountered? Zhang Yi replied, according to the materials provided by the Fremons, the one I encountered was Gui. Hearing this, Alexei exhaled a long stream of white smoke. No wonder. Zhang Yi watched him curiously. Is there some significance to that? Once inside the house and alone, Alexei began explaining the 10 demon gods to Zhang Yi. The 10 demon gods rarely appear in Fremons. It took us half a year of intelligence gathering just to establish our current basic understanding of them. Moreover, we've only identified 10 of these entities. The actual number of such mechanical constructs within the mechanical civilization remains entirely unknown. During the battle that fell Karen's city, 5 of these beasts appeared. They directly crippled nearly our entire armed forces. We deployed nearly every resource except the Reaper of Love. That included microscale H weapons, yet we still retreated in disarray. The 10 demon gods are ranked according to the sequence Jia, Yi, Bing, Ding, Wu, Ji, Geng, Jin, Ren, Gui. This ranking is based on the destructive power they demonstrate. So the one you encountered was the weakest among the 10 demon gods. The names Alexei used for the 10 demon gods naturally differed from what Zhang Yi had heard. It was merely a translation mechanism that rendered them as the 10 heavenly stems. Hearing this, Zhang Yi's brow furrowed deeply. Are the other demon gods significantly stronger than demon god Gui? Alexei hesitated for a moment before slowly shaking his head. Zhang Yi exhaled in relief. But Alexei immediately added, impossible to say. So far, they've rarely shown their full power. It's hard to judge if they've even used their full strength. However, a strict hierarchy does exist among the 10 demon gods. Higher-ranked demon gods can issue commands to their subordinates. Zhang Yi rubbed his knuckles, murmuring, demon gods are essentially artificial beings. This hierarchy between higher and lower ranks must mirror the management relationship between advanced and subordinate units. He pinched the bridge of his nose. Got it. If I run into those guys again, I'll be more careful. Even Gui, the weakest of the 10 demon gods, possessed the space shock, ability capable of partially breaching his everything under heaven defense. What about the higher-ranking demon gods? Zhang Yi's safety instincts immediately kicked in again. The battle is about to escalate. Zhang Yi stated with utmost seriousness, the mechanical civilization never cared about humanity before, treating us merely as grains of sand in their engineering schemes. But now, with conflicts escalating and Demon God being destroyed, they'll undoubtedly deploy more combat units. Zhang Yi looked at Alexei, stay vigilant. Alexei nodded firmly, you too. After the battle in Tianhai City, Alexei's strength had grown. Though not yet at the bishop tier, he now stood firmly among the higher ranks of the Black Chariot tier. Yet should full-scale war with the mechanical civilization ever erupt, no one could guarantee his survival. Zhang Yi patted his old friend's shoulder with concern. Though he said nothing, he resolved that if they met on the battlefield, he would aid Alexei to the best of his ability. After seeing Alexei off, Zhang Yi immediately sought out Lu Karen and Yang Xinqin. A powerful sense of crisis enveloped him, driving his urgent need for more intelligence on the 10 demon gods. Silent, vast skies held motionless white clouds suspended in place. The windless space was deathly still. Beneath the sky lay an immense desert, boundless and endless. This was a lost world, no flowers, no trees, no animals, only endless yellow sand. Yet amidst the dunes stood a colossal structure, towering so high it seemed to pierce the clouds. Crafted entirely from alternating black and white metal, its form was bizarre, resembling stacked layers of shale. The heavy metallic texture exuded the cold aura of a war machine, yet it also felt like a drifting home bearing the weight of time's passage. At the pinnacle of the metallic palace, 2 rows of pitch-black figures stood. Their bodies were uniformly dark, sharing the same hue as the demon god Gui. The metallic texture radiated an aura of slaughter. From the perspective of carbon-based lifeforms, it symbolized destruction and death, triggering the uncanny valley effect deep within the human psyche. Each figure's face was concealed by various masks, or perhaps those masks were their true faces. These humanoid creatures possessed some human physical traits, yet all bore inhuman forms.